All right, today we're jumping straight into a really dramatic piece of history, taken right from the pages of Flavius Josephus's The Jewish War. We're talking Book 1, Chapter 18. It's a wild story of conquest, betrayal, and the mind-boggling price of power. It all centers on the fall of an ancient city and the rise of a very famous queen.
Okay, so to really get what's going on, you gotta know the players. First up, we've got Herod. He's the guy trying to become king, and he's got Rome backing him up. Standing in his way is Antigonus, the last king from the Hasmonean dynasty. Then there's the muscle, Sosius, a Roman general who answers to Mark Antony, the real power in the East. But, and this is a huge but, Antony's loyalties are complicated. He's tied to our final player, Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt, and her influence over him is about to change everything. So let's set the scene. We're inside the walls of Jerusalem. The city is getting hammered in a brutal siege by Herod and his Roman allies. But you know what? The biggest fight might just be the one happening between the people inside. What Josephus describes is just harrowing. Society is literally falling apart at the seams. You've got these two extremes. On one side, you have people who are so devout and so hopeless, they think the holiest thing they can do is just die. On the other side, you've got pure survival instinct kicking in. Gangs of men raiding the countryside for anything they can find to eat. It's total chaos and despair.
But here's the thing, don't mistake that despair for weakness. The defenders' creativity under pressure was just incredible. I mean, they're starving, they're completely outmatched, but they fought back with everything they had. They launched raids, they actually invented their own counter-siege engines to fight the Roman machinery, and they even became experts at digging tunnels to launch surprise attacks. They held out for 5 months like this. 5 months.
But, courage and ingenuity can only hold out for so long against the full might of the Roman army. The walls were eventually breached, and what came next was just a wave of pure slaughter. This was the moment it all broke. Herod's own elite soldiers, right alongside battle-hardened Roman centurions, swarm over the walls. And where do they go first? The area around the temple, the spiritual and symbolic heart of the city. Once that fell, the whole defense just crumbled. Josephus doesn't pull any punches here. He says the Roman soldiers, filled with rage after that long, hard siege, just went berserk. They stormed through the streets, killing everyone. Infants, the elderly, women. He says they were like madmen. And Herod, the guy who just won, couldn't do a thing to stop them. He'd captured a city that was being torn to shreds right in front of him. So, what about the king Antigonus? In this moment of absolute defeat, he surrenders in the most humiliating way you can imagine. He literally throws himself at the Roman general's feet. But he gets no respect, no honor. Saprasius just laughs in his face and calls him Antigona.
And just so we're clear, this wasn't some simple playground insult. Calling him Antigonas was a calculated move. It was meant to completely strip him of his manhood, his royal authority, everything that made him a king. For a warrior king, that insult was probably worse than death.
Okay, so Herod has the throne. The fighting's done. You'd think his first act as king would be to, rule. But nope. His first job is to stop his own allies from completely wrecking the city he just fought so hard to win. This puts Herod in a terrible spot. Sosius basically says, look, my men fought for this. They've earned the right to loot the place. And from a Roman point of view, that makes sense. But Herod fires back, saying if they do that, he'll be left as the king of a desert. I mean, what's the point of being king if there's nothing left to rule? So what does Herod do? His solution is both brilliant and unbelievably expensive. He basically buys his own city back from his allies. He promises to pay every single soldier a hefty bonus from his own pocket. He showers the commanders with gifts, and he gives Sosius himself a royal bounty. He manages to save Jerusalem, but it cost him a fortune. You'd think Herod could finally catch a break, right? Wrong. He's just dealt with one massive crisis, and now a whole new threat is creeping in. This time, it's not from a battlefield. It's from the royal court in Egypt. So the whole power dynamic in the region has changed. Mark Antony is the top dog. But Josephus tells us he is completely, bewitched by Cleopatra. He's so conquered by her charms that whatever she wants, she gets. Her desires are now basically Roman foreign policy. And her greed is the stuff of legends. And let's be real, Cleopatra is absolutely ruthless. This is a woman who killed her own relatives to keep her throne. She would spread rumors about wealthy nobles just so Antony would execute them and she could snatch up their property. And now she's got her eyes on Herod's kingdom. To her, Judea is just another prize waiting to be taken. Cleopatra doesn't have to raise an army to go after Herod. Why would she? She just uses her influence over Antony, convincing him to simply give her what she wants.
And Anthony does it. Just like that, he carves off the most valuable real estate in Herod's entire kingdom, the incredibly rich palm and balsam plantations near Jericho, and just gives them to Cleopatra, like a gift. Herod, the guy who just bled for this land, has to stand by and watch it get handed over. 200 talents. This is the final humiliation. So not only has Herod lost his best, most profitable lands, but if he wants to get any money from them, he has to lease them back from Cleopatra for an insane amount of money every single year. He has become a tenant on his own land. When you look at it on a timeline, the irony is just brutal. In 37 BCE, Herod is on top of the world. He's a conquering hero, he's won his kingdom, he's saved his capital. Fast forward just 1 year to 36 BCE, and he's been totally outmaneuvered. His kingdom has been chopped up, and he's paying rent to a foreign queen. His amazing victory turned to dust in a matter of months. And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question. Herod got the title, he got the crown, he got the palace, but was he really a king? He depended on Rome for his army and had to pay rent to Egypt for his own land. It really makes you wonder, in this brutal pursuit of absolute power, at what point does a king stop being a king at all?